Today, as the Lord will help me, I want to show us the three realities from the Garden of Eden. The three realities from the Garden of Eden. Now, the first question is, um, if Adam had eaten of the fruit, what happened in the garden was that Adam ate the fruit, and the Lord now said that lest they pick of the tree of life and eat of the fruit, that they should be sent out of the garden. Now, that sending out was to prevent them from eating of the fruit of the garden. Are you there? Because already they have tasted of the forbidden fruit. Now, the first reality is what we already know. The reason, you know, we the reason when a child is born in sin was because Adam ate of the forbidden fruit. Are you there? That was part of the implication of the forbidden fruit that was eaten. Are you there? And the first question is now this: if Adam had eaten of the tree of life after tasting the forbidden fruit, what will happen? Now, the question is, after they have eaten of the forbidden tree, now let's assume they were now able to eat of the tree of life. What will happen? Now, they will still be sent out of the garden. Are you there? But the implication is that there will no longer be need for rebirth because, there will no longer be need for being born again. Are you there? Because every child will be born again at birth. Are you there? So, assuming when Adam and Eve ate of the forbidden fruit, assuming they were able to lay hold on the tree of life and eat of the fruit again, there will be no need for rebirth because every child they now give birth to after leaving the garden will be automatically born again. That fruit they will eat after eating the forbidden fruit will now correct the Adamic nature. So, even after the garden, every child that will now be born will be automatically born again. Are you there? So that will be the effect of the two of them eating of the fruit of life after they have tasted the forbidden tree. After they have tasted the forbidden fruit. Now, their coming to earth will just mark the beginning of the millennial reign. Now, you know, if they have eaten of the tree of life after tasting the forbidden fruit, the pattern of existence will change. It will now mean that as they are leaving the garden, they will be coming into the millennium reign of Christ. Now, the current format now, the kind of world we have now is formed from the realities that came out of the garden. We knew that when Adam and Eve ate the forbidden fruit, they were not allowed to pick or eat from the tree of life again. Now, because they were not allowed to eat of the tree of life and they were sent out, now the current format of the earth now, the current format of life now is from the garden to the earth. After the earth, you die, that's death. And after death, millennium reign of Christ. Are you there? Now, but if they had eaten of the tree of life after that forbidden fruit, now the format will have been simple. It will just be from the garden to the millennial reign of Christ. Are you with me? Now, so Jesus won't, there will not be need for Jesus to come and die because already everybody, every child that is born is somehow automatically born again. So he would have just come as a king and rule over the entire creation. Are you with me? The reason Jesus had to come through a humble family submit himself to the limitations of men was because the last thing man ate in the garden was the forbidden fruit. So those processes Jesus undergone was to bring us back to the original state from where men fell. Are you with me? Now that's the first reality. I've been able to talk about what will happen if, after eating of the forbidden fruits, they were still able to lay hold on the tree of life. Are you there? Now, let me emphasize the point again before I move to the next point. When Adam and Eve ate of the forbidden fruit, now the Lord ensured that they did not eat of the tree of life. Are you there? So the last thing they tasted in the garden of Eden was the forbidden fruit. Are you there? So that affected their bloodline. The seed was corrupt. So everybody that was given birth to now became sin at birth. Are you there? So, and because the last thing they tasted was the forbidden fruit, that affected, that brought the reality of rebirth. Are you there? So the implication of that is a man will now need to be born twice. Now, the reason every man will need to be born twice was because the last thing Adam and Eve tasted in the garden was the forbidden fruit. That was their last food in the garden. So the implication that had on us is for a man to now journey to the path of life, he has to undergo two births. The first one is the biological birth, and the third one is the spiritual birth. Are you with me? Let's take note of that. Now, another question we may want to ask from the garden is, now what if they did not eat the forbidden fruit at all? Now, if they had not eaten the forbidden fruit at all, they would not live. There will not be any need to leave the garden. That means they will have been living. They will just be living in the garden forever. Are you with me? Now, let me emphasize some of my points again. The last one I made mention was if they had not eaten of the forbidden fruit at all, they will have remained in the garden forever. Are you there? Now, the reason we have the current formation of life that we have now was because the last thing they tasted in the garden was the forbidden fruit. So because of that, everyone needs to be born twice so that they can die once. It was because of that alteration in the garden due to disobedience that brought that reality. Now, because of that, now everybody needs to die twice. No, sorry, everybody needs to die. Everybody needs to be born twice in order to die once. So the biological birth and the spiritual birth, which happens after you give your life to Christ, which is called born again, being born again. Are you with me? So I said, assuming that when they ate the forbidden fruit, they were able to pluck off the tree of life and they ate it. Are you there? What does it mean? What will happen? They will still leave the garden. The reason they will still leave the garden was because they have already tasted the forbidden fruit. Are you there? But they will still leave the garden. So the forbidden fruit they have tasted is what will make them leave the garden. But because they were now able to lay hold on the tree of life, the effect that we have in them is now that they are the error in the lineage will be corrected. So instead of every man that is born, instead of every man being born in sin, it will now mean that everyone that is born will be born in righteousness. So everybody will now be uh, born again at birth. Are you there? I hope you are able to get the point now. Now, finally, to summarize, because I don't want us to mix it up. It can be complicated when you mix it up.